I'm Leonard Leo, and I'm President Trump's advisor for the Supreme Court. There's a potential gridlock over Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch because Senate Democrats want to impose a 60-vote threshold for the confirmation of a Supreme Court justice. And that's unprecedented in our American history. Throughout history, all we've required are 51 votes to confirm a Supreme Court nominee. And I think that they're deviating from that standard because the left wants to have a court that will rubber stamp a fairly liberal agenda that can't be achieved through Congress and the states. Well, again, I think that part of the problem here is that we have a Supreme Court that's pretty evenly divided, and Senate Democrats, throughout the confirmation process for Neil Gorsuch, wanted commitments and promises from him regarding issues they care about deeply: gun control, abortion, campaign finance reform. Judge Gorsuch couldn't give those kinds of commitments or promises because he's a sitting judge, and he has to be fair to the litigants that come before him before the Supreme Court in the future, without predetermining their cases, and so he wasn't willing to be a rubber stamp, and I think the Senate Democrats are opposed to him because they're just not sure they're going to get the kind of policy making that they want from him as a Supreme Court justice. We have had many years now of very contentious battles over Supreme Court nominees. It started all the way back in the 1980s. Where the Democrats really gave a very hard time to President Reagan's Supreme Court nominee, Robert Bork. Democrats did the same thing to Justice Clarence Thomas in the early 1990s. We saw that with Justice Alito when George W. Bush nominated him for the Supreme Court. It's been an ongoing battle and war over the composition of the U.S. Supreme Court. So none of this is really surprising. I don't think that Republicans and Democrats are going to reach a deal on the confirmation of Judge Gorsuch. First of all, there's just too much stake. There's just too much at stake with the left. The groups on the left are very angry over the election, and they're very angry over the president's ability to make appointments of justices who will interpret the Constitution as it's written. So I don't see a deal in the making right now. I think we're moving forward toward 51 votes for confirmation of a justice, and frankly, that's just fine, because that's been the history of our country, of the Senate, and we've survived with that standard for a long, long time, and there's no reason why we can't do that now. We don't need a filibuster. I don't think that the nomination and confirmation process that we're seeing right now is going to change Washington all that much. Again, we have a confirmation process that throughout history has only required a simple majority up or down vote. We've never seen a successful partisan filibuster of a Supreme Court nominee in the history of the United States. So I don't think that the process that we're seeing unfold right now is going to change Washington all that much. And Judge Gorsuch is very much in the mold of Justice Scalia, who passed away a little over a year ago. And so I think his confirmation will restore the balance of the court the way it was when Justice Scalia was on it. They can visit a website, confirmgorsuch.com, and of course there will be a lot of television coverage of the proceedings of the Senate, both on Thursday and Friday, when the filibuster votes take place and when Judge Gorsuch is ultimately confirmed on Friday.